Coming up on News 2, District Judge Raymond Finch issued an opinion on the VI election lawsuit. In it, he addresses the defendant's motion to dismiss the case. And VI boxers arrived back in the territory late Sunday afternoon after making a huge splash in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Plus,
the president makes 3 visits to Capitol Hill this week. Can this so-called charm offensive solve the budget impasse? Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Dumansing. On Thursday, District Judge Raymond Finch issued an opinion on the VI election lawsuit, specifically the defendant's motion to dismiss the case. Finch granted the defendant's motion. News 2's Erica Bivens brings us the details from that opinion and what one of the pro se plaintiffs thinks about that decision.
A lawsuit first filed in December 2012 by 5 former candidates alleged the latest elections took place on illegal voting machines, violated voters' rights and due process, among other things. But even though a hearing took place, pro se plaintiff Wilma Marsh Monsanto says they never really had their day in court.
We never was even heard. I gave the judge in the court, I gave him a list of grievances.
Challenges that Monsanto says were never addressed. But in January, the defendants filed a motion to dismiss, stating there was a lack of standing and failure to state a claim. On Thursday, District Judge Raymond Finch sided with the defendants in his 18-page opinion granting that motion, a decision Monsanto disagrees with mostly because she says the judge never got to the main issues.
It's one thing to look at procedure, which I know we followed every procedure that was necessary to fall in compliance with our request. And the thing about it is that the judge offered no substance. He didn't look at the substance of what we were saying.
The opinion states defendants claim plaintiffs have not alleged how their due process or equal protection rights were violated by defendants' actions. As a result, they have not alleged personal injury to establish standing. It also states the use of the non-EAC certified voting machines does not rise to the level of fraud, to which Monsanto replied,
predetermined to use illegal machines, predetermined to use a ballot that was compromised, predetermined to use an election that was not properly certified. Where do you hear this?
Monsanto says they'll be filing an appeal. For News 2, I'm Erica Bivens.
Now, during the lawsuit, plaintiffs also wrote a letter to the U.S. Attorney's Office asking for a determination of whether the 2012 election was conducted legally. To date, they say they've received no response. On Saturday, a group boating trip turned tragic, leaving 1 man dead and another hospitalized. It started when 10 friends sailed from St. Thomas to Jos Van Dyke to visit Bubbly Pools, a tourist attraction. It was there Jeff Lange was knocked from the rocks by a large wave. 2 of his friends, Jonathan Wheeler and Doug Stewart, jumped in to rescue him. However, a rogue wave separated Wheeler from the 2, sweeping him under the surface and against rocks, causing him to lose consciousness. Stewart tried to reach Wheeler but sustained severe injuries himself. However, he was able to swim out of the currents. VI search and rescue was on the scene within minutes but were unable to resuscitate Wheeler. Stewart was transferred to the People's Hospital on Tortola. Police arrested a man who they say conned a number of senior citizens. 41-year-old Jose Bermudez, who also goes by several nicknames, was arrested and charged with robbery first, extortion, and obtaining money by false pretenses. Bermudez was positively identified as the person who convinced a 79-year-old woman to give him $4,500 to purchase 3 houses and a car. Another victim withdrew more than $7,000 to fix alleged damages to a windshield. These are just a few of the cases. Police are asking anyone who may have come in contact with Bermudez and paid him to contact detectives at 712-6077. Governor John DeYoung Jr. has left the territory to make his first official gubernatorial visit to Denmark. The governor departed on Saturday and will spend a week meeting with government agencies and area businesses for a number of economic development and business meetings. DeYoung will also be reviewing innovations in Denmark's recycling and water-to-energy programs, meeting key industries such as the Danish Wind Energy Association and the Danish Ministry of Climate and Energy. Other meetings include discussing the expansion of the Danish charter flights and sharing official Danish records with the territory. This trip marks the first time in over 13 years that the Virgin Islands governor has visited the country. Well, a number of the 2011 property tax bills that were recently mailed were returned to the tax assessor's office because of incorrect addresses. Tax assessor Ira Mills is reminding property owners to confirm that the addresses on file with their office is correct and that it's also consistent with the address assigned by the U.S. Post Office. To confirm or update mailing information, please call 776-8505 on St. Thomas, 776-6737 on St. John, and 773-6459 in Christiansted, and 772-3115 in Fredericksted. The University of the Virgin Islands has been hit with a series of budget cuts that UVI officials say will make it hard for the school to operate. They say the increased funding shortfalls could mean cuts to the programs. Government officials say the economy is slowly recovering, so the financial picture is still grim. News 2's Erica Parsons has that story.
UVI may have to cut programs and adjust class schedules for next year with another looming budget cut. According to the Daily News, that's what University President Dr. David Hall indicated during the school's Board of Trustees quarterly meeting this past weekend. Hall said the school received a budget ceiling for fiscal year 2014 from the Office of Management and Budget. All government agencies had to take a 5% cut across the board for fiscal year 2013, and 2014 doesn't look any better.
Based on our preliminary assessment of the revenue situation that we anticipate we will be experiencing in fiscal year 2014, we've set ceilings for various departments and agencies, and we have asked them to prepare budgets to those ceilings.
The UVI ceiling is $1.4 million less than last year's budget of $28 million. That was already down $3.5 million from the previous years.
We are aware that the university has indicated that they will have some difficulty accommodating that ceiling, but that's what the numbers are at this point in time. So we urge them to submit their information to us, and we will proceed accordingly.
OMB officials blame the slow economic recovery for the numbers, but they say there are still ways to work around the cuts.
There's one or two ways to adjust budgets, a combination of working on expenditure reductions and, more importantly, working on revenue enhancements to see what we can do to increase the revenue levels. And we are working on both ends of it at this time.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
OMB Director Gottlieb said this budget will be submitted to the legislature by May 30th deadline. News 2 contacted the university president's office for comment, but calls were not returned by news time. Well, President Obama makes 3 trips to Capitol Hill this week. He is looking to build bipartisan support for a plan that would roll back that $85 billion budget cut. Included in these visits are 2 separate meetings with Republican lawmakers. It's part of the White House's new strategy to win over members of the GOP. Susan McGinnis is in Washington with more.
I'm welcoming with open arms. I think the president's tremendously sincere. I don't think this is just a political change in tactic. I think he actually would like to solve the problems of the country.
Oklahoma Senator Tom Coburn was one of 12 Republican senators to dine with President Obama last week. He says working with the GOP could result in a budget agreement.
It's time to start leading, and the way you do that is quit poking your finger in people's eyes and start building relationships, and I think he's got a great chance to accomplish a big deal.
But it appears any big deal will have to address spending on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
At the end of the day, we're going to have to find a balanced solution, and it will involve all elements. It will involve talking about revenues, talking about expenses, talking about entitlements. We have to do that.
Republican Congressman Paul Ryan also had some FaceTime with President Obama last week. He cautioned it remains to be seen whether the president's outreach to the GOP is sincere.
Will he resume the campaign mode? Will he resume attacking Republicans and imputing our motives? Will he resume what is long believed to be a plan to win the 2014 elections? Or will he sincerely change and try and find common ground?
And Congressman Ryan will unveil his new budget plan tomorrow, and it will call for a repeal of the president's health care law. So we shall see just how long this thaw between the president and congressional Republicans will last. In Washington, Susan McGinnis, CBS News.
Meanwhile, keeping our eye on the economy, lawmakers in the U.S. are also still struggling to agree on a budget deal that could put the brakes on billions of dollars in spending cuts. This week's main focus will be on retail sales. Investors will be watching the numbers, which are due out on Wednesday. They want to see if the increased payroll, tax, and higher gas prices have caused consumers to pull back their spending. This is the New York Stock Exchange, the Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all up. The Dow 50, Nasdaq 8, S&P 5. Coming up on News 2, our boxers return home after they won their 6th-round junior middleweight bouts at the Resorts Casino Hotel in Atlantic City during the ESPN Friday night fights. Many supporters will wait to congratulate. Across the nation set their clocks ahead 1 hour to observe daylight savings time on Sunday. Well, here in the territory, no changes for us time-wise. However, your television programming times will change once again. Ellen will now be seen right here on CBS TV2 from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. News 2 will still be seen at weeknights at 7, but it will now re-air at 11 p.m. the same night and 1 p.m. the following day. CBS Evening News will remain at its usual time of 7:30 p.m. Many job searchers in the territory may have an opportunity to work for companies in the U.S. right in the comfort of their homes, as Connect Space VI is hosting a seminar to encourage telecommunicating in the Virgin Islands as a way to stimulate jobs in the territory while making the Virgin Islands the technological hub of the Caribbean. News 2's Janisha John brings us more.
With many in the territory having a hard time finding work, there may be an alternative solution, as ConnectSpace.vi will host an upcoming seminar to allow residents to explore the world of telecommuting.
We were contacted by Connect Space VI because, of course, there are some extraordinary employment situations in St. Croix and St. Thomas that can be addressed through telework, that is, bringing in jobs from mainland U.S. to the territories.
With currently 3 million jobs available to be done through telecommuting, the workshop will focus on helping hundreds or even thousands of workers in the Virgin Islands to identify U.S. companies they can work for right at home.
The workshop is going to be spent specifically on where the jobs are, what companies are hiring, and how to find those jobs on the internet. We're also helping to make some introductions to companies here on the mainland who are interested in exploring the talent pool in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Meanwhile, ConnectSpace.vi is working to set the Virgin Islands up to be the technological hub of the Caribbean. And with support from the Department of Labor and a stable broadband connection through VI-NGN, the goal is one that, if achieved, will provide a huge benefit for the territory.
This is really to help the Virgin Islands lift itself out of the situation where we have limited employment options. And so for right now, we think that doing telecommuting is the only viable options that we have right now. I mean, an immediate fix.
Definitely see that there's going to be a strong benefit. My primary objective is to help as many people get into financially viable positions that they will be able to keep for the long term, so that they can stay there in the U.S. Virgin Islands, enjoy the wonderful life that they have there, and find a job from the mainland.
Janisha John, News 2.
VI Port Authority's Executive Director Carlton Dow says they are committed to ensuring that all the facilities are accessible to the traveling public. The Sierra Leone King Airport received a non-mechanized passenger boarding ramp. It provides assistance to passengers with special boarding and deplaning needs. Currently at Sierra Leone King Airport, there are 2 pieces of equipment that include a mechanical stairs and a lift in use for travelers with special needs. The Bar 35 equipment now combines the function of these dual pieces of equipment into one unit. This equipment was purchased by the Port Authority at a cost of $52,537. Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.